innovation that's actually taking place here. It's pretty fantastic. And, for the foundation, we've been here originally because a lot of the health challenges were here, and we still care a lot about that. But now a lot of our invention is being done here, whether it's vaccines, obviously, we have some incredible partnerships, but it's broadening to, better seeds, better diagnostics, the ways that we can use AI for health or education. So the innovation ecosystem has really exploded, and that's going to be great for India. It's going to be great for the world.
So when you meet other leaders around the world, or when you meet your billionaire friends, what's the first thing you tell them about India? Is it the same thing, what you just told me?
Yeah, it's, we've had such a great experience in our work in India. I encourage people to come and tap into the great things going on.
Is there anything specific you tell them?
Well, my connection with India goes all the way back to the Microsoft days when, we at first would hire people from India and bring them to the United States. And, both the United States and India were kind of mad at us because we were taking, the smart people and moving them. And, then they came back here to India and created the Microsoft India work, which has, been absolutely fantastic. So, up until the year 2000, I mainly knew the tech scene. So, a lot of Bangalore, Hyderabad, seeing the country more broadly, that's in my foundation work. So, Bihar, UP, seeing, where we could partner and help with things. I still want to take more vacation here. I've done it a little bit, but, there's a lot of great places in India that I haven't been to.
Talking about Microsoft and taking people from here to US, people like Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, there have been incredible CEOs around the world. Why do you think India is becoming a global talent capital for the world? Do you think anything special here which is out there?
Well, 20% of the world's people live here in India. And India's had a particular emphasis on, engineering, software, and turned out a lot of top people. And so when you get people like Sundar, Satya, who are both great at engineering and at management, that's a magic combination. And, so they, these companies, are looking anywhere in the world to find that mix. And, so India's getting about its fair share of those top leadership positions. And, it partly comes from having great universities, not just the IITs, but starting with them, that's using the incredible talent that's here.
So talking about Indian talent, you do a lot of philanthropy work here, and you've met a lot of talented people here, a lot of rich people here as well. You believe that all the money that rich people have, or like people who have made wealth for themselves, they should use it for charity work, they should pledge it. In India, usually a lot of people believe that as parents, it's their duty to save everything for their kids, for the inheritance, right? Like the kids will get everything. What do you think is the right mindset? Using all the money for pledging and giving it back to the society, or giving it to the children?
Well, I think, everybody gets to decide on that. In my case, my kids got a great upbringing and education, but, less than 1% of the total wealth. Because I decided it wouldn't be a favor to them. It's not a dynasty. I'm not asking them to run Microsoft. I want to give them a chance to have their own earnings and success, be significant and not overshadowed by the incredible luck and good fortune I had. And different families see that differently. I think the people who've made fortunes from technology are less dynastic, and so they'll even, take their capital and give a lot of that away. You can have a view of giving away your capital or just giving away your earnings. And of course, I love all philanthropy, but the tech sector is probably the most aggressive about giving most of it away.
In other sectors, you have not seen that in any other kind of industry where people try to give?
Not to the same degree. It tends to be giving more, giving some portion of the profit as opposed to the actual base capital.
In India, a lot of kids also fight with their parents on inheritance. Have your kids ever spoken to you and be like, hey, why are you not giving us everything or anything? Has it ever happened?
You don't want your kids to ever be confused about your support for them and your love for them. And so I do think explaining early on your philosophy, that you're going to treat them all equally and that you're going to give them incredible opportunities, but that, the highest calling for these resources is to go back to the neediest through the foundation. And, they've seen the success of the foundation. I hope they're very proud of the foundation. And so, I've seen cases where kids actually tell their parents to be more philanthropic. I think the younger generation sometimes actually is pushing against this idea of the wealth just being passed down mostly. So it's every family's a bit different.
I have last question on India, and then we'll get to the foundation work and try to understand you as well. If you get an opportunity to invite 3 Indians for dinner, dead or alive, who would they be?
Well, I get to spend time with, some incredible people in India. And, I get time with the Prime Minister and understand his vision and how we fit into that, this, 2047 thing that, everything is lining up to try to achieve that. I get to meet, there was a great scientist, Raj Bond, who created the Department of Biotechnology. There was a mathematician, Ramanujan, who I would have loved to have met him because he was almost mysterious how he was so genius at what he was able to do. I got to work with Ratan Tata. I'm getting to work with all of the amazing philanthropists and a lot of the innovators here. I get to see small companies early on. I just went through some of these companies using AI in health, some for-profit, a few nonprofit. We had a great 25-year celebration, and this great sitar artist, came, and that was a pretty special thing. Nice. So it'd be hard for me to pick. There's so many incredible talents.
You can't pick 3.
I think I defend some people by not including them.
Fair. Okay, you were talking about small companies. If you were to start something from zero in India today, where would you put most of your time? And what's the first step you'll take?
Well, you'd mostly start a company because you think you enjoy working on something and you think you have a world-class understanding of, a unique contribution. For me, that was software. For this day and age, if you think you understand, fusion, that's great. If you're successful, which that's risky, you could really improve the world. AI is sort of today's equivalent of what I did when I was young, to see, wow, the possibilities are unlimited. And so, I'd probably be doing one of these new AI companies if I was starting out today.
Do you still feel there's a lot of opportunities in AI to build something as significant as what you have built, or it's pretty late?
Well, the big companies are putting a lot of money into it. And the number of companies globally is huge. I mean, many people didn't even know these Chinese companies were doing all this work, and yet, some of the best results over the last 6 months have come from 3 or 4 of the models there. So it's not, when I got going in computing, it was a very small set of people, and people thought we were crazy that we set a computer on